We bring in ABC News contributor Channa Lloyd, an attorney with the Cochran firm. Thanks so much for joining us, Channa. We heard that argument from the prosecution that these men killed Ahmaud Arbery because he was a black man running. How persuasive was that to you after following this trial so closely?
I think it's going to be quite persuasive because even amongst their own testimonies, the only thing that they are really addressing as to why they felt that he was suspicious was this previous encounter and then these videos that they said they had all this suspicious behavior in the neighborhood. And I think that that's not going to carry through for a jury because people want to be secure in the fact that when you are detaining someone, this person is the person that is committing whatever crime it may be. And none of the Mcmichaels or Mr. Bryant could point to some actual evidence as to why they thought he was being suspicious.
And let's drill down on the self-defense argument here. The prosecution said that these men cannot claim self-defense because they provoked the encounter. But it's really more nuanced than that, right?
Absolutely. I think there's a number of differences. Let's start with what we call stand your ground, which is you have the right to use deadly force to protect yourself anywhere you need to be. Now, that does not hold across all states. Some states confine that only to your home, and others actually have a duty to retreat if you can safely. So there's a lot of nuances to this self-defense. The other thing is that there's a few areas in which self-defense cannot be used. You cannot use it if you initially provoke the interaction, which is why we see them really focusing on the citizen's arrest law, because that's the only thing that would give them the ability to have stopped him in the first place. And so you can't provoke it, and you also can't be in process of a felony or anything else when you choose to say that you are having to defend yourself. And another other instances that make self-defense a very case-by-case basis.
And we've talked, of course, a lot about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial that just ended with a not guilty verdict. In that case, the defense was able to convince a jury that Rittenhouse was not the instigator, that at first he was the one being chased and attacked. Compare and contrast for us why that specific defense might work in Rittenhouse and potentially not here.
I think when we're looking at Rittenhouse versus the Mcmichaels and Bryant trial, what we see in Rittenhouse is that there was a period of time where he was allegedly given these threats against him. There were people that were coming to harm him. When he was initially attacked, he was chased, even if it was with a plastic bag. He himself didn't necessarily know what was in the plastic bag. So he ran and then he had nowhere to go. So in that case, I think the jury saw that he didn't necessarily provoke what happened, but that rather he was the subject of someone chasing him and him being in fear of his life. When it comes to the Mcmichaels and Bryant trial, what we're looking at is that Ahmaud actually never says anything to them. He never approaches them. He never does anything but run. And here they are actually engaging him first. They are trying to pin him with the cars, and then they get out of the car to engage with him with the shotgun, as they are allegedly saying that they just wanted information. But it's a series of events that leads us to make the determination and will lead the jury to make the determination whether or not self-defense is applicable.
In your opinion, what arguments from today are most likely to stick with the jurors?
You know, interesting. At first, you're looking at these three arguments from the defense side as individual arguments. But if you look at them holistically, what you see is that the first argument on behalf of Travis Mcmichaels really humanized him. They wanted you to identify with him as an ex-military. They wanted you to understand that he's helped people in the past and that he would have never been out here for those things. Then the second argument on behalf of Greg Mcmichaels, what we saw was the victim blaming. They attacked Ahmaud Arbery himself, why he was there, what his appearance was, you know, the fact that he had the whole neighborhood in fear, even though he hadn't actually been accused of anything. And then in the final argument, what we see is this idea that Mr. Goff brought up, that this was God's calling on Mr. Bryant's life and him separating Mr. Bryant from Mr. Mcmichaels. So it's interesting, I think, but the broad strokes are really what the jury's going to remember. We saw the judge even had to let the jury out a little early because they were completely done with closing arguments. So I think they take away the broad strokes of each argument.
Channa Lloyd, thank you so much, as always.
Always a pleasure, Lindsay.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.